Hello there, beauty ravers, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Raven, and this is where I like to rave about beauty. If you would ever so kindly hit that like and subscribe button to become part of my little family here on YouTube, it means so much to me. Now, without further ado, let's jump on into the video. Hi guys, today we are doing the makeup eyeshadow palette tag created by Angelica Lamar, I believe is how you pronounce her name. If I'm wrong, I am so sorry. Do not mean to butcher names ever. Anyway, I will of course be linking her video down below, but she is the lovely creator of this tag. However, my friend mbolism was actually the one who brought this to my attention and showed me Beautbean's video because she also did it, and I'll leave Beautbean's video down below as well. But I am doing this tag in collaboration with mbolism here on YouTube. So of course I'll leave their channel linked down below. So of course check them out because I love them so much. We share so much in common. We've wanted to do a collaboration for such a long time, but it just hasn't happened yet, so I'm really happy that we get to do this one today. We will be doing more in the future, so stay tuned for that. But now let's jump into my eyeshadow picks for this video. So I actually have all the questions written down in my notebook, and I'm going to read them one by one. So the first one is the eyeshadow palette that represents me based on the color story. This question was actually pretty easy for me to answer because I did just recently receive the It's Freakin That's Shroud x Beautbean palette in the mail, and I am oh so happy about it because, well, for starters, I love Beautbean. She is my favorite YouTuber here, but honestly, it's the color story for me. Look at this gorgeous beauty. It is literally me in a palette. When I saw this released, I was like, this is literally something I would create myself if I were making my own palette. So it's obviously the answer to that question. I know that if I were to create my own palette, there would definitely be a periwinkle and a chartreuse with corresponding shimmers, and that this palette has, and I love it so much for that. However, I will say I did have to pick a second palette for this question because if I were creating my own palette, I would need a grungy green, at least one, probably a couple. Also probably a black and a yellow. So of course I love this palette, but the second palette I chose for this question is going to be the Melt Gemini palette. This is so beautiful, and yes, I am a Gemini, so I guess the packaging also kind of resembles me. Also just love the packaging on this, but that is not this question, so we're getting to that one. This palette is absolutely gorgeous. I should have a video with pretty much every palette I mentioned today, but this one I know that I have 2 videos with because it is just so beautiful. I want to play with it every single day. It has the grungy greens, it has some mustard yellows, it has a black, and it's all so beautiful. I'm not going to harp about formula too much in this video because every palette I'm mentioning today has a wonderful formula in my opinion. But this one is amazing, and I have heard Melt Cosmetics can be hit or miss. This is the only palette I have from them, so I can't really tell you about that, but I will say this one is top notch. Okay, so question number 2, an eyeshadow palette that represents me based on the packaging. This one was the hardest question in the entire video for me personally. Going through my collection, I learned that I actually don't have a palette that I feel represents me from the packaging. Like, I really just don't think I have anything in my collection that really resembles me. But I do have 2 I want to mention because out of all of my palettes, which I have a ton, these ones resemble me the most, I guess, but they still aren't me to a T if I'm being honest. The first one I want to mention is the Radioactive from Bymelolops. Now, the reason I think the packaging resembles me is because, well, for starters, she is a beautiful little cyborg cyberpunk character here on the cover, and I mean, I am not cyberpunk. I'd like to think I'm more pop punk. Honestly, I'm just Raven. I change my aesthetic daily, if I'm being honest, but I love the green hair. I love the vibe of her. I think she is stunning. And if I were a character in a video game, I think that this would be like the most fitting for me personally. So that is why I picked the packaging on this one. It's so cute and I love it so much. The palette inside is absolutely stunning as well. Again, we're just talking about packaging, but I figured I'd show you the color story anyway. In case you guys are curious about it, I will be linking all of these palettes down below in my description box if you want to check them out. So the second palette I chose, though, I had to give it to my Kaleidos Cyber Bronze palette. This is from the Futurism collection. This is, okay, listen, I love this. This is gorgeous. This is art in my opinion, but I do drip pour paintings, and I have a few that look almost identical to this. Like when I bought this palette, a lot of me was like, oh my god, the packaging. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I do like the color story, and again, I'll show you it just so you can see what you're getting with this bad boy. The color story is definitely more neutral than it is my vibe. However, I do love this for a good neutral palette. It's beautiful. But again, the packaging, because I do drip pour paintings, I feel like this resembles me the most in my collection. I don't, like I said, I don't really have anything that like fits me to a T based on packaging, but I do think that this comes pretty close. Alright, our next question is an eyeshadow palette that represents spring. This was so easy for me because if you watched my spring eyeshadow palette ranking video, I'll link it in the cards if you haven't seen it. But if you watched that video, then you probably already know that it is the Ice Cream Dream palette from Glamlite. I love this thing so much. It has sprinkles, and yes, they move. I always want to play with them whenever I pull this palette out. But the color story is really what screams spring in my opinion. We got some gorgeous pastels, and isn't that spring in its finest? Honestly, in my opinion, it is. I personally love pastels all year round, but I know not everybody does. However, for spring, it is the move. It's the right move to make in my opinion, and this palette does it for me. Now rolling into question number 4, an eyeshadow palette that represents happy. This one I also picked 2 different palettes for because both of these palettes just make my heart happy. They also go kind of hand in hand. I'll explain here in a second. So the first one is the Little Ray of Sunshine from Colourpop. Okay, first of all, we just got to talk about how sunflowers, my favorite flower. Also, Little Ray of Sunshine, my name is Ray. My mom used to always call me her Little Ray of Sunshine, so that just makes me happy. It reminds me of my mom whenever I pull this palette out. But also, these adorable yellow tones. I love this so much. It's so cute, but it is an all matte palette, and that is my only gripe with it, because I am a shimmer kind of lady. I love me a good shimmer. I get down with some good mattes, and I don't mind having an all matte palette because I do enjoy companion palettes. However, if I'm thinking happy, there has to be some shimmers, alright? So this makes me happy for my matte side of me. However, the Skuld palette from Oden's Eye makes me happy for my shimmer side of me, because this is an all shimmer palette. So I feel like they go hand in hand because all matte, all shimmer, I need both to make myself happy, but this is absolutely beautiful, and the shimmers you do get in here are like the happiest shades, right? Honestly, we got an orange, we have a yellow, we have a periwinkle, we have a green, we have a pink. I'm just naming all the colors at this point, but honestly, they do make me happy, and I feel like, I don't know, what do you guys think? Does this make you happy when you look at it? Because I feel like whenever I look at it, I can't help but smile. Question number 5, an eyeshadow palette that represents the dark, grungy side of me. Okay, so this question was kind of hard because I do have quite a few palettes in my collection that are dark and grungy because those are like my favorite colors to play with. But I did decide ultimately to go with The Child palette from Colourpop. Another Colourpop palette. Is anybody surprised? They released so much, there's bound to be a couple, right? But this one is super duper cute, and I feel like they did this one so well. Sometimes Colourpop can flop, but this one I think was definitely a hit. I just really love this grungy green color story. Some of my favorite shades to play with. There's a super shock shadow in here, no pressed glitters. I believe there's only one sequin shadow. Yes, there's only one. It's just a really good overall palette, and I'm really proud of them on this one. I wish they would keep going in this direction. I don't really know where they're at right now, but I love this palette. I think they're trying to be a little more inclusive, which I'm really preferring from Colourpop because they went through a long period where they were just kind of popping out light shade after light shade after light shade, and it's like, where are deep, dark, rich tones, Colourpop? But they are starting to come out with more, so I am proud of them for that. And this one was just a killer palette, and it's my favorite grungy palette I have in my collection. Other than the Melt Gemini, but the Melt Gemini is like my literal color story, so that one would have gone in that place, but it was in my first place. You know what I mean? You get it, you get it. Question number 6, an eyeshadow palette that represents the girly in me. Now, I am not that girly, however I wear makeup every single day, and the people who think that that correlates, I don't understand your mindset, and I would like you to stop having those stigmas on me, okay? So, but But no, I did ultimately pick 3 eyeshadow palettes for this. And I know this is the only question that I have 3 for. So it's weird, because I'm like, I'm not that girly. But I have a few palettes that I feel like fit that description. So the first one I want to talk about is the Violet Voss Berry Burst palette. I recently posted a video with this, and I'll link it in the cards. But this, okay, so it doesn't look like much, and I'm going to warn you now. It looks neutral with some berries. I know it doesn't look too exciting, but I promise you the formula, and like I said, I'm trying not to talk too much about the formulas on these palettes because they all have killer formulas. But if I'm doing a neutral look, 9 times out of 10, I really will probably pull this one out. It's just so good, and I really do love the shades that they put in here, even though it is a little bit boring. In my opinion, I just really enjoy it. The shimmers, oh, so good. The matte, oh, I just love this palette. But anyways, I do feel like it's quite girly, you know, and so I thought it would fit in this place. I also want to mention, though, the Menagerie Flight Club palette. This is gorgeous, and, like, this is a little bit different, I think, because I feel like when you think of girly, you just think of pink, but I feel like purples and pinks together really speak girly to me. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I really love this one. It has lighter purples. I wish there were a few more rich, deep, dark, grungy purples in here. However, I do think you can get a balanced look with this. I've used this palette so much. I've beaten it to death, honestly. And I've only had it for a couple of months, but it's so good. The Stop talking about the formula, Raven. I know you want to rant and rave about it, but they already know. But this is a really good girly palette, in my opinion. And lastly, for my favorite girly palettes, I'm going to mention the Beautē Scarlet Dusk palette. This is gorgeous. I used this for my Valentine's Day look, and just, it's so pretty, and honestly, I just get all the vibes. I love it so much. It's really gorgeous, and yeah, what else can I say? Question number 7, an eyeshadow palette that represents fun. And now honestly, this is the only palette I don't have a video on. I have one filmed, but I don't think it'll be up by the time you're seeing this. But maybe it is. Who knows? If it is, I'll link it in the cards. But this is going to be the paint palette from Glamlite. I love this palette so much, and it's kind of funny to me that, like, I don't have a video with this, but I got this before I started my channel, and I feel like I just kind of had so many things going on when I started that I just never had the chance, but I did film a look with this. Hopefully it's up now. If not, it'll be up sometime soon-ish, I guess. I don't know, but it's gorgeous. I love it so much. This was my first ever Glamlite purchase. It is just so beautiful. I love her so much, honestly. Honestly, guys, I mean, you can already see because it's a clear cover. Is this not the most creative, fun thing you've ever seen? Like, it's literally a paint palette. It has a thumb hole. How creative is, I love this so much. It's like the most adorable thing, and I have so much fun when I pull this out. I know it's just a rainbow palette, but I do have a ton of fun playing with this one. Glamlite is honestly my, like, favorite brand, so that makes sense, honestly. And then question number 8, which is also our last question in this tag, an eyeshadow palette that represents inspiration. This one was so easy for me, but I did add 2 because the first one everybody is mentioning for good reason. It is the Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos Makeup in collaboration with Angie. My gosh, this palette, guys, it's so, honestly, just from the packaging it inspires me, but like the inside, guys, tell me that's not an inspirational dream right there. I mean, it's something that I really don't think I would have done on my own, but now that I have it in my collection, it's something I want to pull out every single day. It is so good, and like, you can do so much with it. You can do seriously so much, and it just inspires me to do, I love colorful makeup. Don't get me wrong, but the color combos in here that you can do are a bit different for me, and I absolutely adore them. It's such a wonderful palette, and I understand why everybody is putting it in their inspirational spot, because it is a true inspiration. However, I do have one more that I just got yesterday, but I've already used it twice, and it's what I have on my eyes today, and that is the Lois Cosmetics Meet Me in the Underworld eyeshadow palette. Okay, guys, this is beautiful. I love it so much. I filmed yesterday's look, not this look, I probably should have, but this palette is so pretty. I have the reds on. I'll give you a little peek at this look because my glasses love to fog up the show, but it is a beautiful palette. I love it so much. The only gripe I have is that I feel like it looked a bit more saturated online, but this is so good. Oh my gosh. And I love the color combo. It really does inspire me. Berries with greens. Oh, yes, please. I am just living my woodland critter lifestyle in this palette, and I'm all about it. And it just inspires me, really, it does. And I can't wait to play with it more. It's funny because I'm not huge on bigger eyeshadow palettes, but I did mention a couple today, especially these two. I guess maybe the bigger palettes do inspire me. Smaller palettes do inspire me a lot as well, but I really just love those two palettes. And I had to mention them both in that spot. But that's going to wrap it up for my picks for this tag. I would love to know what your picks are, so please do leave them down below. And also let me know what you think about my picks. Did you think they were good picks, or did you not agree with me at all? I'd love to know. But also, don't forget to check out Mbolism C's channel. Again, it will be linked in my description box. They are amazing. They are so talented, seriously so gorgeous, and you will love them just as much as I do. So that's gonna do it for me today. I hope that you have a wonderful day and stay beautiful. Mwah.